Good morning. This week's Sunday morning message will be continuing out of the book of Proverbs with chapter 17. Better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting with strife. A wise servant will rule over a son who causes shame, and will share an inheritance among the brothers. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the hearts. An evildoer gives heed to false lips. A liar listens eagerly to a spiteful tongue. He who mocks the poor reproaches his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children is their father. Verses 1 through 6 deal with such virtues like family harmony and honesty, along with other portions of the book of Proverbs. These statements also warn that people who plan evil will suffer the consequences. God cannot be deceived, and he knows exactly what is on each person's heart. It takes intense heat to purify gold and silver. Similarly, it often takes the heat of the trials for the Christian to be purified. It is through trials that God shows us what is in our hearts and clears out anything that gets in the way of complete trust in him. Peter said in 1 Peter 1:7, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests gold." So when tough times come your way, you should thank God and realize that he wants to use these trials to refine your faith and purify your heart. Few acts are as cruel as making fun of someone in need. But many people will do this to make themselves feel better about, themselves. It makes them feel good that they seem to be better off or more successful than someone else. Mocking people who are poor and weak also mocks God, who created them. We also ridicule God when we mock anyone else who is different from us. When you catch yourself putting others down, even if you mean no harm, stop and think about who created them. Excellent speech is not becoming to a fool, much less lying lips to a prince. A present is a precious stone in the eyes of its possessor. Wherever he turns, he prospers. He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates friends. Rebuke is more effective for a wise man than 100 blows on a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore, a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs, rather than a fool in his folly. Whoever rewards evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like releasing water. Therefore, stop contention before a quarrel starts. He who justifies the wicked and condemns the just, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. Why is there in the hand of a fool the purchase price of wisdom, since he has no heart for it? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A man devoid of understanding shakes hands in a pledge, and becomes surety for his friend. He who loves transgression loves strife, and he who exalts his gate seeks destruction. He who has a deceitful heart finds no good, and he who has a perverse tongue falls into evil. He who begets a scoffer does to his sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. Verses 7 through 21 cover a broad range of ideas. Major themes including sins that cause anger or division between people, friendship, and careful use of someone's resources. These verses often exhibit the pattern of contrast or doubly stated ideas. In verse 12, Solomon is pointing out that encountering a fool is far more dangerous than encountering a bear. In the context of the book of Proverbs, wisdom is defined as an application of God's truth, relating back, of course, to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. We've been seeing that one a lot in this series. Foolish people reject God's truth and goodness, as seen in Psalm chapter 14, verse 1, and Proverbs chapter 14, verse 16. That makes them unpredictable and far worse than any mother bear. Fools without influence are dangerous enough. Fools with power can leave everlasting scars on history. In the days of the New Testament, the ruling Herods were vicious, violent fools. Herod the Great ordered for the death of every male child in Bethlehem and its vicinity, in the hopes that he would get to the infant Jesus. Matthew chapter 2, verses 14 and 16. In Acts chapter 12, verses 1 through 3, another Herod took James, the brother of John, and when he saw that it pleased the Jews, he apprehended Peter and intended to take him out too. And spoiler alert, he didn't. In verses chapter 5, verse 19, Peter is freed from prison by an angel. And a great story is told there that I encourage you to read about yourself. In verse 17, Solomon points out the value of a true friend and a brother. A true friend is always loving, and a brother helps in trying times. A true friend and a brother exhibit love in unfavorable circumstances as well as favorable ones. A merry heart does good, like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. A wicked man accepts a bribe behind the back to pervert the ways of justice. Wisdom is in the sight of him who has understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. Also, to punish the righteous is not good, nor to strike princes for their uprightness. He who has knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding is of a calm spirit. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. When he shuts his lips, he is considered perceptive. Proverbs chapter 17 ends with wisdom centered on godly spirituality and a controlled tongue. In contrast, negativity and bribery are sins to be denounced. Thank you for watching. Next week we will be continuing in the book of Proverbs with chapter 18. God bless.